Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big updates today with regard to Sentinels, especially rumour has it that TenZ is unwell again and has infected the rest of the team as well. That means their scrims are not going quite as planned over the last couple of days. Several roster updates as well going down around the world. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, this is not actually Ye, but it kind of looks like Ye, which was pretty funny. And Vanity got some good interactions for this one as Ye's like, yeah, what's going on? I actually have a twin, I suppose. And yes, the belief is now, as we've talked about over the last few days, all the rumours that have been emerging, Ye to the Pacific somewhere. It's probably Bleed. People have been joking about this. Even Ye responded and says, I'm going pro in Valorant Mobile, thank you very much. So I'm not sure I fully buy this, to be honest. So yeah, seems like this is going to be happening. There's a couple of screenshots in a few minutes time I'll share for you guys as well that make this even more likely. Also, the Red Bull Homegrounds is coming up around the world. The EMEA qualifier Team Heretics are going to be playing in that one. So good to see a lot of these new teams. The Red Bull kind of Homegrounds tourneys at the end of the year. Quite a good spot to see generally how the teams are getting on. You know, teams like 100 Thieves, they played last year, did well. Teams like Cloud9 just get an early sign of how good these teams are looking because, yeah, you might think, oh, it's several months until the season starts. But teams that take this seriously, and let's be honest, the players are still getting paid every month, they've got to be hitting on the practice, right? And this is what we're going to discuss with Sentinels in a few minutes' time. Firstly, though, Ardiis. This has been spotted now on the contract database. I do find it funny that this contract database exists in the way that it does because, you know, you've got to sign the player before you announce him, right? I mean, that's kind of how it goes. But by the time you sign the player, it gets updated on the VCT like open database quite shortly afterwards, and then everybody knows anyway. So then when you announce him, it's like, well, a bit underwhelming, you know? So I feel like, I don't know if there's an issue with this necessarily, but it kind of spoils the fun for the teams in some respects. Like, you know, let's say Bleed sign Ye, and then we see it on the database. It's like, well, you know, they didn't even get their chance to do the announcement yet. But in this case, we do have it here with Ardiis that he is going to NaVi. So it's kind of been funny, as Will Minder says, what's happened with Ardiis the last couple of years, going from the FPX team, having good success there, infiltrating NRG, destroying their roster from the inside, and then going straight back to his old team. So replacing Sentinels on NaVi, probably with the same kind of, you know, outside forces that they previously had. And look, he was good on that team before. I think that can be the case again. And we're expecting Ardiis. I mean, he made it very clear after Champions that he ain't going back to, he's not saying in the Americas, right? He was like, yeah, I'm definitely going back to Europe probably. And this is the team that he has had an option with and will go forward. I know that he gained a lot of fans and probably a fair few haters as well while he was out in the Americas with some of the questionable things that he would say, but he was a good, you know, an entertaining character. So I'm looking forward to seeing this next adventure, whether he can take NaVi to the next level, because yeah, NaVi weren't quite as good last year as I thought they might be with CNED, and maybe Ardiis can help them out again as they did back in the FPX days again. Now, let's go to Brazil quickly, because Noyan has been saying some very interesting things with regard to Saadhak. We know that Saadhak has made his mind up, and he's not joining NRG. He is staying on Loud, so the belief would be, alright, if he's staying on Loud, he's going to be the IGL, and what happens with the rest of the team. However, there is a coach that has departed, right? So, you know, Frod has departed, and there's also rumours, and I know he mentioned this a couple of days ago now, and I thought, oh, maybe he's just talking about this in terms of 2025 or 2026, when Saadhak no longer wants to play, then he can coach Loud. However, Nguyen says there is a possibility that Saadhak will be the leader or a leader outside of the server next year, but for that to be the case, they need to ensure that they've got a very strong roster. So Saadhak is apparently considering stepping into a coaching role already, which to me would be very surprising if he decided to do this. I think he's still definitely good enough, and you know, he's got the ability to play at the high level, and if he was joining NRG, he'd be playing as a player, right? So I'm surprised if he's, you know, turned down the NRG offer, gone back to Loud, and is satisfied being a coach and effectively calling time on his playing career. I mean, yes, he's won champions, but I still think he's got more in the tank there, and you know, I expected him to build a roster around him again. Maybe that's not going to be the case, though, and he's going to step into a coaching role depending on what happens elsewhere. I still think it's more likely than not that Saadhak will end up just IGLing the team, but it seems very clear that either he's considering or the team is considering having him as a coach at least at some point. Getting back to Ye real quick, it's been spotted again that Ye has been in some of these matches here. So, as Team Secret say, we're rich in Scrim pesos, and we have the Secret guys with what is quite clearly Zombie, right? So if you guys haven't been following over the last couple of days, there's this account that goes by the name of Zombie that was supposedly the little brother account of one of the Bleed players, and as it turns out, Zombie is basically yay. I mean, it's quite clear based on some of the clips and some of the voice comms that we've seen. And this account is, well, it's blurred, but you guys can tell that this probably, that looks like a Z or a Z if you guys are from the States, OMM, and then this looks like a Y, ready, and then we've got this duck thing. And this kind of aligns quite well with what we saw here, which is when one of the players in Bleed tweeted out their scrims with Crazy Guy, Duryon, that was the supposed little brother who they're playing with, Ego is scary, and then again we have the duck thing, and you know, tactical stuff by using this red block all the way down here, pretending the name is very long, whereas in reality the name is probably rather short if it is this account Zombie. So yeah, so this is what we see on this one, this is what we see on this one. Makes sense to me that Ye's going to be on Bleed. That is what we currently think. Now let's get to Sentinels here, because lots of talk about their roster going forwards into the new season. There was a bit of drama as well that went down yesterday. So Esports Doug comes out with, well, it's obviously a tongue-in-cheek comment. NRG went 0-4 to this. No wonder FNS isn't competing this year, looking at the fact that Billy Gaming have not had the greatest results lately, despite the fact that they double knocked out NRG of the World Championship. Now FNS kind of knew that he was joking around here and kind of says this in the reply. And, you know, I hate when tier 5 casters give opinions on Twitter. Am I right, fellas? Get him, etc., etc. So, you know, FNS didn't take this badly. But in fairness, this is a joke, really. But if it wasn't a joke, would it matter so much? Like, I don't exactly know what the line should be on the commentators, the casters, the analysts for the community talking trash on players. In regular sports, in like basketball, NBA, like the analysts are always talking trash on certain players. This guy's bad, he's not good enough, needs to step it up, bad results, all this. And that's their job, that's how it works. In esports, the same analysis, if it is done, is taken in a different way. People seem to get way more like, oh no, you shouldn't be saying these type of things about the players. And some people would say that it's just people being soft, and I think that might be part of it. But I also think that there's an element within esports that it's kind of like a fresh grassroots scene, as it still is. There's a kind of feeling that the entire community is in it together. I don't know if you guys feel the same perception, but I kind of feel this way sometimes, that it kind of feels like the players, the analysts, the fans, like the organizations are all kind of wanting the same thing at the end of the day. They're wanting the esport to grow, whereas in regular sports, you know, football is football, you know, like it ain't going away. There's no need to grow football or anything like that. Whereas in esports, it kind of feels like, you know, we're trying as a community to do the best for the game. And therefore, when you get analysts kind of calling out players specifically, it always feels a little bit like an insult has been taken by the entire community at large. I don't necessarily think that should be the case. And I think that the analysts should be able to say what they want. If they want to criticize players, they absolutely should be able to. But I think there's maybe reasons why we feel the way we do about this type of stuff. And even as Screwface says, who read into this, that Esports Doug was taking a shot at FNS, he was like, oh, you know, pure negativity, especially it's kicking down a great player who's already suffered some tough losses. Like, it was a joke. He realized it was a joke, so he got debated a little bit, but still, I thought it was a little bit dramatic, to be fair. And in addition to this, we also got this that came out from Sideshow. So he did a great hour-and-a-half video looking at TENS individually, and why TENS is not as good, in Sideshow's opinion, as his brands would, and, you know, his power in the scene it would suggest. But also how he can improve, get more versatile on certain agents to take steps up going forward and be the player that they need tends to be. So, you know, it was definitely interesting analysis. And that does lead us on to how good Sentinels are actually going to be for the new season. It's kind of difficult to say. All we know is that during Champions, Sentinels were dominating. Believed to be with John QT on the roster. Initially, we thought maybe it was FNS. That could have made sense, but John QT was supposedly the mystery IGL that was leading this Sentinels team. The same team they had with Def at the start of the season, and then, of course, with Marv slightly later on. Now with a different IGL in John QT, formerly of M80, of course, let's not forget. They were dominating, you know. They're playing Fnatic, they're playing EG, they're playing Paper X. They were beating or going even with all of these teams, despite being brand new with that new in-game leader. Now, there's obviously different sides of the story, because when you're a team like Evil Geniuses practicing for the World Championship, you're not bothered about winning or losing maps and scrims. You're practicing setups, you're practicing ideas, you're practicing rotations, and the actual round count doesn't matter. Whereas when you're a brand new IGL coming into Sentinels, trying to prove to your coaching staff you're the man for the job, round count in scrims matters, even if you say it doesn't. It does, because it's a feeling thing at the end of the day. So Zellsis was spotted playing in their scrims the other day. No Pancada, Zellsis in instead. He has made it clear that he wants to compete, but he's going to be on the bench for the team. And at the time we had 10s here, but actually I believe yesterday there were screenshots going rounds with no 10s in the team either, and maybe Kaplan in instead. And this is where we get to well, it's not even yearly, it's probably every couple of months this happens, where Tens has been ill. So I guess he's come back from Japan, maybe, I'm not exactly sure, but as Elsa says, day 3 of scrims and taking over the Sentinels roster, Tens got everyone sick, so no one is at the office, but John QT, who is there, and also Sassy is still bold. So we then, as we say from Zekken here, I'm convinced Tyson invented a disease in Japan and came back to test it on all of us. He literally just ultra killed all of Sentinels. So yeah, apparently Tens has come back. I mean, look, Tens is always unwell. You know how this guy is. He comes back, he infects all the other guys, and they've all got to stay home for now. But I guess the question is, once they do return, Zellsis will be out. You know, we Sassy, Pancada, John QT, Zekken, and of course Tens. How good are they going to be? And the belief is they're looking really good. I mean, Xander says yesterday Sentinels are back. There was another tweet as well that said Sentinels are back. This is usually what happens. The teams will tweet out something like, if Sentinels don't win every single event this year, I don't know what's going to be happening. And Xander is, we think, still on M80. There was some connections with him to 100 Thieves, but that does no longer seem to be the case. So, yeah, the belief is from this that, and even Zekken says, I'm only good in scrims, don't worry, kind of saying that, yeah, we did kind of just body you guys in scrims. So apparently, even with Tens being unwell and potentially stepping out of the team for now, and with the entire team being unwell, they were still apparently dominating this pretty promising M80 team. So shows good signs for Sentinels going forwards, absolutely, but it's early days. There also was some great news yesterday that Kaide, her chemotherapy kind of sessions have now officially finished. So, you know, as she says, before I wanted to share with you guys, I'm not 100% sure that it was done and over with. Doesn't mean that all of the treatment is over, but, you know, it's really good news. So I was wondering when we might get an update from Kaide. So, yeah, hopefully that all goes well. And just one final thing here, given we did mention 100 Thieves, is from Mailcare over at 100 Thieves, saying that on the Valorant side, we believe there will be no announcement this week as of yet. So we've still got to wait a little bit longer for some announcements on some of these teams. But this kind of implies that they maybe have a team locked down now, even though over the last couple of days, we've still wondered who 100 Thieves 5th might potentially be. So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.